welcome to another episode of T-Shirt Business Podcast. Today, I have a special guest with me. I have Leo with me, Key Print Co. I actually met Leo at a trade show in Long Beach, California. I also met him through the internet. He's all over the internet.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be really good to get Leo into the podcast so we can learn about him and learn from him. Hey, Leo, so we can get the podcast started. Tell the people a little bit about you.
Yeah, so originally a screen printer by trade, then shifted over into screen printing plus DTG, screen printing plus heat press, and now I'm at the point where I'm making a lot of the equipment that we use in the shop. So pretty much full circle at this point.
Okay, cool. Original screen printer. So we definitely gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, former screen printer myself. So yeah, let's talk. So Leo, how did you get into the t-shirt business? Because I looked you up a little bit just to do my research on you. You started printing like 15 years ago?
Gavin, when you say it like that, it sounds like I'm an old man, which I am. Yeah, man, started in 2007, if you could believe it. Let's put it this way. I'm so old that Ryan from Ryanette himself sold me my first press. Like, that's how old I am. And it was the blue, clunky, big blue monster one. So it wasn't even like any of the nice ones. But yeah, so 2007 pretty much got my start. Your question was, how did I get started?
Yeah. Like, how did you get started? How and why did you get started into the t-shirt?
For sure. So back in the day, I used to own a magazine. And kind of a really weird roundabout question, but the answer to it was, we did a lot of interviews here in California. One of those interviews was with a band called LMFAO. They were, I don't know if you remember them, they were quite big for some time, but I did an interview with them before they got super big. So I was in their house, I was walking around, and on the couch, they had like 15 different shirts. And I was like, what are these? These are like so horrible. And they're like, that's the merch that we sell. And I was like, I could do a way better job. It was just so bad. Yeah. And I remember talking to them about it, and then they were starting to come up a little bit. So I remember thinking, if I can do merch for these guys, they're gonna blow up. I'm sure it could be something. So I started doing my research and I started brokering out a little bit, right? Just because I got so inspired with how bad the quality was at the time and how much better I felt I could do with it. So I started brokering out a few jobs, and lo and behold, you can do better. So what they were doing back in the day was a very low quality form of printing. What I was attempting to do was just very small batch screen printing. I made a few connections with local printers, and then they started doing the jobs. A little bit after that, I decided, hey, instead of just brokering everything out, I should have my entire setup shop in-house. So I started buying my own equipment. That's where I, first met Ryan, and bought the press, had a flash unit, and it was like, I still actually have both of these things today, but it was like the worst of the worst, but it got the job done, right? So I cut my teeth on that. I learned about screens, registration, burning. I did everything the hardest way possible because YouTube wasn't a thing back then. So you can imagine reading a book on screen printing.
How was life before YouTube?
Oh, it was a pain. You had a library card and you maxed it out every weekend. That's what life was like.
Yeah. That's awesome. When I was getting started in my t-shirt thing, I saw a lot of guys I saw a lot of Ryanette and Ryan Moore on the internet on YouTube.
Yeah.
And everything I was seeing was like guys in rock and roll, guys in music. That was not my thing. So I'm like, do I even fit into this thing? Like, what is
do I belong here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember Jonathan with Cat Spit Productions?
I remember him.
It was that. Yeah, I know what you mean. It was like, whoa, all right. Time to put on my leather bracelets and get to it. Sheesh.
Yeah. So you've been doing, so are you still printing now? What's going on?
Every day I'm printing. Yeah. The cool thing now, and I'm very blessed to say this, is like I am printing, but a lot of it is like, you'll see in the kind of, as we talk a little bit more, the business changed so much that now I'm really printing for really close friends / clients of mine. And it just makes it cool because they let me experiment. They let me try new stuff. And that's actually where a lot of our R&D comes from.
Nice. And where is your shop? Just so the folks can know, what do you print out of? Like, what equipment are you printing? And what type of stuff do you do?
Sure. So we're in Fullerton, California, here in the heart of Orange County. We're like 10 minutes away from Disneyland. I don't live a whole too far away from it, so quick jump right over and I'm there. We print Yeah, you said, what do we print on?
Yeah.
All right, so we got a few things, right? We're printing on a Brother DTG, an Epson DTG. We got the Workhorse 4-station 6-color. We have another one. It's a bit of an older machine called a CAPS. That's a 4-color single station. We have Raynar for the conveyor belt dryer. And then we just have a few random flash units here and there. But then on the other side of our facility, we have heat press units because DTF is apparently now a thing.
Yeah.
So we got a few.
Major.
We got Hottronics in there. We got Geonet in there. We got a lot of different things. And I know it totally sounds like overkill, but we have to have a lot of units to test a lot of our products out.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. So you are in the production printing game, but I also see you have Keyprint Co. What is
Correct.
Keyprint? What is Keyprint Co? Is that different from your screen printing business? And what is that?
Yeah. So to make the story a lot simpler and less complicated, Common Thread is our screen printing business, right? You just come in, you place an order, we print it up, we hand it to you, done deal. Fan Official is our influencer merchandise company. So we get an influencer who wants to create their own line, we design everything for them, we print it, package it, fulfill it, all from the same facility, right? Sometimes we even give some of our orders to Common Thread because they're too big. So, they take care of that. The last company, and my favorite company as of right now, is Keyprint Co. And Keyprint Co., we manufacture, patent, and design all of the equipment that we sell. So what that means is, for example, during the pandemic, a lot of people had to close their doors, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Not a great situation, especially print shops. So a lot of them reached out to us and they said, hey, how do you print on a face mask? Our solution was, here's some tape, here's some paper clips. It was very messy, right? So basically what our team decided is we got together, we shut down all of our projects for a month. And we said, we're only focusing on this for 1 month. Every engineer that was working on anything, any product design, everybody shut everything down. And we said 1 month, just focus on this. Within 3 weeks, what we did is we prototyped a platen that lets you print on face masks. After we figured it out, we created the first prototypes. We tested them out. Everybody literally who worked in the company had to try it out because we were all hands on deck. Once it was to our satisfaction, once we were happy, we turned it into a product called the face mask kit. And then we started manufacturing and selling it to everybody in the US. And for like 3 months, we could not ship these things out fast enough because you got to think, right? No more events, no more schools, no more sports, no more festivals. The reason for a lot of print shops to make shirts no longer exists. But it's now mandated for you to make face masks. So if you can keep the doors open by printing face masks, why not, right? And if all it takes is one box to just convert your shop from a t-shirt shop to a face mask shop, get the box, keep the doors open. That was kind of the whole model.
I mean, who could forget this whole face mask thing?
Oh.
God. Are you still, so now you have 3 business, and we'll get into why you say Keyprint Co is your favorite.
Oh,
I want to hear why. But like, are you seeing people still ordering a whole bunch of these things like when the pandemic was like at its highest?
Yeah. It kind of ramped up really fast, right? So the first version of the one we put out, we sold a bunch of them. And so we have 12 distributors here in the US. And what ended up happening was a lot of the people started going to the distributors and saying, hey, we need a way to print on face masks.
Yeah.
And if you come from the screen printing world to any extent, you are really good at MacGyvering everything you need to do, right? So you take a sleeve plait and we can do it on that. You can take a neck tag, like you figure out the way you got to do it, right? The problem is when you're doing big production batches, it gets a little harder. And also, and this was probably the biggest reason why, if you put adhesive to hold down a face mask, that's the part that's going to go on your face. So for a lot of these people, it was print, ship directly, and they're immediately putting these things on. They're not washing them before, right? My platen holds it down with a hoop, very similar to embroidery. And so because of that, it just sales went up a lot when they figured out adhesive wasn't a good option.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. We'll get a little bit into that. I went and checked you out on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about you is like, it looked like, for me, like being on this video thing is strange for me, man. It's super strange. So I have to like work that out. But it seemed like you have a lot of energy. You're doing this marketing thing like at a high level. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like a little bit about you, your like drive to do what you do and
Sure.
just being like behind the camera and how you do your marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that.
I think it's fair to say. So before my company, any of them, even Common Thread, before any of those that even took off to any extent where I could, support myself,
Yeah.
I was working with my dad's company, and his company is in flooring. It's a completely different sector, right? So I got really familiar with flooring. And what you learn really quickly is if you are not excited about what you're doing, no one's going to be excited about what you're doing, right? I then took those skills from working with my dad's company in flooring and selling his tools to Common Thread. And surprisingly, everybody loved it. So when you start talking to people and they come in, they're saying, hey, I want to print a shirt. Awesome. What kind of shirt? What kind of feel are you looking for? What's the vibe? What's the style? And you just get excited. It
Yeah.
goes from like just a regular errand that you have to finish to something you're really excited to do every week, right? So people definitely feel off the vibes. And after just a few years of doing that, it just
Yeah.
kind of became who I was afterwards.
Yeah. So that is who you are, just like high energy.
All the time. And when you see
Yeah.
me at shows, that is not an act. I'm actually like that all the time.
Yeah. I think I would struggle with that because I don't think that's who I am. I'm more like I'm more like even, if you want to call it that, right? So I do, I mean, of course, everybody get excited, but
Right.
if I get excited, I want to come down as, as fast as possible.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So that's who
Well,
I am. That's cool. Go ahead.
speaking of that, when you saw me at the show, did you see me when I was doing a demo?
Yeah, you had people around you, and plus I had to run back to my booth anyway. I had saw
Okay.
you before,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to say hi, but you was busy, so I was like, oh, let me run. Yeah, but you was doing a demo.
And it's that, if I had to say something in favor of having high energy, we were like in the back. We were like basically near the bathrooms in a burrito cart. Like we were quite literally the furthest thing away from the door.
Yeah.
But I was so energized and loud, I guess, that like we just constantly had a crowd in front of our
Wow.
booth. Like it was 24/7. So as soon as it opened until like the very end, there was always a crowd there. It was always rotating. And I think if you're gonna go into something like this, like especially people who are thinking about getting their own booths,
Yeah,
that high energy, high vibe kind of sensation,
yeah.
people really dig that.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So was that your first show, or you do the shows all the time?
So it's a yes and no. That was my first show as Keyprint Co. having
Yeah.
our own booth. But if you're familiar with All American, for example, All American Supply,
Yeah. Is
yeah,
that
so
blue, they have the blue?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, so they're in Buena Park, which is maybe 10 minutes away from Fullerton. And usually what happens is they go to shows and I tag along with them and then we both demo together. So
Very
you
cool.
will see me at a bunch of shows the rest of the year and I'll be either with them or with another one of our distributors.
That's awesome. All right. So you have three companies,
Mhm.
and now your new startup that's growing really fast. You say it's your favorite startup. I have a startup of my own, and I'm loving it. I want to know what's in your mind. What is it that makes you like this company a lot?
So I'll tell you the truth, which I don't really know if I'm supposed to be saying it, but what I love, so you have to consider, and this is why I told you the first two companies exist. The first company, screen printing, fantastic, Common Thread, love it. With Fan Official, there were so many things that I wanted to print on demand that I just couldn't. And hats was actually the first one.
Mm,
What I love about Keyprint Co. is that it doesn't end there, right? As printers, there's a lot of things we want to do. We get super frustrated. We make our own solution and we're happy. With Keyprint Co., when I make a really good solution, I can offer that to everyone else. Like, am I going to use it? Yes. Can everyone else benefit from it? Yes. And I think from a community that's given me so much, it just feels really, really cool to be able to say, hey, do you want to print hats? You do? Get this box. It'll let you print hats.
yeah,
And now you have a new revenue stream that you can offer for your customers. So that's what
yeah,
I really love about it.
that's awesome. So just so you guys do platen
Yeah.
that fits on like screen printing press or like digital printing press or digital printers.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So the easiest way to explain it was what we created is a transportable platen system, right? And what that does is if you have a hat press for a hat platen, for example, right? You can take that same hat platen, put it on your DTG machine, use it all day long. You take the exact same hat platen, you put it on your screen printing press, now you're screen printing on hats. You take that exact same platen, put it on your heat press, and now you're heat pressing DTFs on hats. So the same platen can actually be used on every machine that you have, as long as you have an adapter. And the cool thing about that, and the part that I always, again, I'll say to you, is I was always frustrated that you want to do something new, that's $2,000. You want to do something new, that's a whole new machine. And with me, it's like, I just bought like 30 grand worth of equipment. I just need one piece. And they're like, nope, you got to buy an entire new machine, set that up, deal with it. And so what I figured was, me and the engineers, I should say, all of us figured out that if you just separate it and you make it transportable, you don't have to keep buying the same platen for every single machine that you have. You just use the same one, and it just saves time, and it's a lot less frustrating.
DTF. So I had a screen printing shop.
Yeah,
Started out with a manual screen printing shop. We really started out with a heat press, then
yeah,
got a manual screen printer, then got a Rock Auto. Then, we had multiple autos. But
right,
last year I got out of the business, actually in the middle of the pandemic.
yeah,
And I'm gonna say that was right before the wave of DTF came into this scene,
yeah.
right? What are you seeing? Like, cause I don't know too much about DTF. Like, first of all, what is DTF? Why people should use it? Cause I see you do some DTF and stuff like that.
Yeah, DTF's real cool. DTF is really cool because what DTF does is it gives you the ability to print full color images, and I should say print full color images, but then heat press them onto the apparel. So if you starting off and you have those types of orders, that's a great way to get into the door at a very low cost comparatively to like a $15,000 DTG machine, right? So DTFs are really cool in that sense. With DTF though, it's such a new wave that I'm really excited about. If you use it the right way, it's super profitable and it's super good. If you don't use it the right way, which is what I'm hoping that these manufacturers who are making DTF machines will also put out really good educational information. If you don't use it the right way, it could end up not being the greatest thing in the world. And one of those examples is if you check out a video we just did, we got an order where somebody wanted a one color front, one color back, and like a four color sleeve. And it was just ridiculous to print a four color sleeve with screen printing because what, that's four screens, four registrations, four set. I'm not going to charge a customer an arm and a leg for a sleeve, right? So we DTF the sleeves, charged them very minimal amount because we just gang printed all of them on one sheet. And then everybody was happy. We got the order done. They got exactly what they wanted. They saved some money. We made some money. Everyone was happy. So if you use DTFs the right way, definitely really profitable.
What is the wrong way? Like, in your opinion?
The wrong way is not understanding the market and what their expectations are, right? If you don't understand that it's not simply putting an image on a shirt, it's creating a product, then you're not going to have the best kind of feedback. And the nicest way of saying it, one of the things you do have to understand with DTFs is that they're not all created equal, right? Similar to screen printing and similar to DTG, there's different qualities and different levels in the industry. And that's something not a lot of people are talking about, right? We look at it and we see it through the internet and we see it through influencers, and it all looks the same to us because it's on the screen, right? Oh, if that guy can do that with a $2,000 machine, I can do that with a $100 machine that I can buy at Best Buy. You can, but will it feel the same? That's where you're going to realize the differences. So the wrong way would be saying, let me take $100 machine and print for my clothing line, and no one's going to tell the difference. You're going to quickly realize they're going to notice, and then they're going to tell you everything about it.
All right, so if a screen printing shop owner is is listening to this right now and thinking about this DTF thing to get it in their shop, what are you telling them? Should they get it? And if they should get it, like what are the steps, who they should be reaching out to, what manufacturers and stuff like that?
Great question. So if I was talking to someone who said, hey, look, I want to get into DTF, that's my jam. First question I would probably ask them is, what are you looking to create? Like, are you going to make custom orders for somebody? Is it for your brand? Who is it for? After you figure out who that person is that's going to be judging your work, what do they want? Do they want something just quick, cheap for one day, one event kind of thing? Or are they looking for something where it's like the Ritz-Carlton and they're going to have to use this thing every single day, highest quality every day? After you figure out who's going to be judging you on your work, maybe it's yourself, then you got to go to these shows especially, or go to an open house for your distributor, ask them to print something for you. Take one of your own images, take one of your own garments. If it's going to be for your own line, take your own blank that you're going to use, take your own design, have them print it, touch it, and feel it. But here's the kicker, and this is the part where I'm going to speak lightly, but I do want to speak firmly on this.
Yeah.
You have to watch how they make the DTF. This is the part that really changes this for everybody.
Okay.
One of the things a lot of people don't know, if they never if you screen printed, you definitely know this. If you've never screen printed, that white powder that they're putting on the DTF is actually powdered adhesive. Now you might not think, hey, nothing wrong with that. Powdered adhesive has been around for years. I've been using it for screen printing, right?
Yeah.
If you handle powder adhesive manually, you got to wear a face mask. The reason I say that is because if you don't wear a face mask, after about 30 of them, you're going to realize why you should have worn a face mask. Just trust me.
Just like on the health front, right?
You just start realizing, hey, this is powder. It goes everywhere, like any other powder. So it's very important to touch and feel a product once it's printed. It's almost 2 times more important to watch how it's made. If you can see the way that it's made and you're comfortable doing it that way at your shop, all the power to you. But if you're seeing powder flying everywhere and you know you're going to be doing this in a closed off 1-bedroom apartment with no windows, you gotta really put that into consideration.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How about a manufacturer who's, like, in your opinion, a good manufacturer or a good printer?
I use a bunch of people. I think the most recent one that I used was Supercolor, and they're awesome. They're again, I'm very spoiled though, because they are only like 15 minutes away.
Gotcha.
So again, check with your local manufacturers to see how close they are. It's a big benefit because in a pinch, I need something, I can go pick it up like within the week, right? Not everyone has that. I will say one of the things that you want to look forward to and kind of one of the cons to DTF is, let's say that somebody needs a sample this week, right? If I had a DTG machine, you can just print it right there on the spot. You're done. No more worries. If you DTF them, you got to send out the job to get done. It's got to get done. It's got to get shipped. It's got to come back to you. There's a whole lot more involved than just hitting one button, right? So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. But Supercolors so far has been super great.
I hear a lot of this stuff about Supercolors.
Yeah.
So 14, 15 years into the business, still a young guy. So as a career or as a thing that you could make money at, is the t-shirt business a good way to make a living, in your opinion? If somebody's thinking about starting a business, should they really be getting into the t-shirt business?
Yeah. So at our height, like when we were like going 100% pre-COVID with Fan Official, we were launching a clothing line every week and it was for a different influencer. So to answer your question, yes, contingency, right? This is the little asterisk at the top. Some people don't mention. If you already have the audience. If you don't have the audience, you should first think about how you're going to get the audience and then make a shirt.
But
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
So how about production? Should I start with production like right now if I'm just getting into the business?
Absolutely. So if I could tell you like my greatest goal in life, like #1 fantasy, I would love to turn production of apparel into regionally centralized production units. So for example, I have an order. Let me ship it off overseas and then get it done and bring it back. What I would rather see is I got an order. Let me ask Joe right here down the block if he can make it for me. Joe should have all the equipment readily available. Yes, I can make that for you. He makes it, brings it back, or I go pick it up. Everybody's happy, low carbon footprint. Everybody keeps it local. And I think to answer your question now, absolutely. I 1000% encourage local production and I want more people to be getting into it right around now, especially after COVID.
No, definitely. I think it's, one, it creates a lot of opportunities, right? Like
definitely.
Like the t-shirt game, if you get in it and you're serious about your game, you could really make some good money on it. You could make a career out of it. You could start finding out problems and you could start solving it like you're doing right now.
Definitely.
So there's a whole lot of like upside to the t-shirt game. But just like any other business, it's a business, you gotta work it, right?
And some people forget that sometimes, you get into it, you start having some fun, especially if you go into clothing lines and all that stuff. You
Yeah,
can get a little lost in it, but it's still at the end of the day, it's a business and you got to
yeah,
treat it as such.
yeah. That's awesome. So, what's something that I'm maybe not asking you, something that people should know about you or maybe about your business? Kind of cool.
Yeah. The reason I kept all three companies is because they're super important, right? I have to know, or I should say, I have to keep in mind what
Mm,
screen printers, what DTG printers are going through on a daily basis, right?
gotcha.
Beneficial is really the new wave, right? In the future, I very highly doubt that anybody will be making 10,000 pre-made units of something and then hoping and praying that it sells. And I figured that out because a lot of my clients sell in Zoomies and Tilly's and to Walmart. And man, they just tell me some stuff where I'm like,
Yeah,
crazy amounts that you're going to hope that you're selling. What I'm hoping is everything in the future is going to be made on demand or at the last possible second, right?
yeah,
And that would eliminate the amount of waste that we produce, but it also will make it more profitable for lines. And with KeyPrint, the reason I kept those first two is if I can figure out a way to solve the problems from Common Thread, make them efficient enough to be print on demand, like I've learned with Fanofficial, then KeyPrint Co. can really provide those solutions to everyone. So a whole
yeah,
lot of times you can do exactly what you want to do. You just need the right thing to do it. And don't believe anybody who tells you things are impossible. Nothing's impossible. You just got to figure out a way to do it. A lot of the times when people talk to us, we already had the solution. They just didn't know. So I encourage everybody, and not even just with my company, keep looking out for the new up and coming companies. Keep looking out for everybody that shows up to these shows. Walk around at all the booths. You got to
yeah,
figure out what's possible because
yeah,
chances are, if you want to make those custom Jordans, it's probably really possible. You just
yeah.
haven't figured out how to do it yet, but it's out there
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
for sure.
So, Leo, I'm gonna take a minute here, make an announcement really quick,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
just share with the audience something that I'm working on.
For sure.
So, just like Leo, I was at the trade show and I was demonstrating my startup, right? So, for a long time, I was a t-shirt printing, screen printing company. I sold that business. One problem that I had when I ran my business, it was a major pain to try to do artwork and design and get the files, right? Right. So, and I know a lot of screen printers are struggling with that. So that's why I put it as a challenge to myself to help some of the friends that I have in the industry to solve this problem. Right. So here's what I've done. Created a startup that's helping screen printing shop owners save time and save money by giving them a solution to proofs and approval, color separation, embroidery digitizing, and some custom design. And we're doing this all in a clean and simple solution. So there's a team of customer service representatives that's there to help you out. There's a team of graphic designers that's there to help you out. There's a clean technology tool that you could use to get all your job done in a clean way. All right, so we're calling this Seps.io. That's the name of our brand, right? Reach out to me if you have any question or go to the website. I'd love to chat with you. So Seps.io.
Cool.
So Leo, what's next for you, man? What are you looking to do? I know you said you might be going to the trade show, right? Next?
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Irving, Texas next week, and then Atlantic City after that, and then like 9 other shows for the rest of the year. So I'll be moving
Oh,
around quite a bit. Yeah,
9 shows?
yeah. Well, I think it's 10 total. So
Are you like
the
you book all those shows? You already pre-book and all that?
oh no, that's that's what I was gonna do later today. So I booked the first few right now. I have to book the rest of them right now after today. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of moving around.
That's crazy. What's going on in Urban or in Texas?
Yeah, so it's Graphics Pro Expo in Irving, and then
Oh
Impression
yeah,
in New Jersey, Atlantic City.
yeah.
Um,
Are you at that show demonstrating?
yeah, so I'm gonna be teaming up with All American, and we're
Yeah,
gonna be demonstrating together. But I will definitely be at their booth. So if you come see me, say
yeah.
hi, say what up. I'll definitely show you guys everything that we have to offer. But everyone should definitely be going to these shows if they're local to you.
Yeah, and after that, you gotta go. The one I'll be going to is, well, I'm planning on going to. Let's see where is the one at Atlantic City in New Jersey.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah,
cool. That one I heard is cool every year. That
yeah.
one and Impressions in Vegas, or
Mm.
sorry, Printing United in Vegas.
Apprentice United. I
Yeah, yeah.
haven't, have I been? I haven't been to Apprentice United.
Oh,
Maybe.
they're huge. They're
Yeah,
big.
yeah. Okay, cool. So that's cool. All right, what's your piece of advice for somebody that say, that's just, because sometimes folks, we just starting out, we don't like
Yeah.
because you've done this thing, right? This t-shirt thing, like you are a veteran in this thing. Like, I'm starting a t-shirt business right now. My mind is foggy and I don't know what to do. Like, what are you telling me? What's your advice?
Yeah. Do you mean like you're starting a print shop or a brand?
Yeah, it's easier to start a brand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about, let's say that,
Sure.
just from the business perspective.
For sure. Every single clothing line we've ever launched since the beginning, there's always two things that I say at the first meeting after obviously, hello, would you like some water?
Yeah.
First two things I always say. One, people will use your apparel to shape their identity. You got to understand that. You got to acknowledge that. You got to let it marinate. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, no one really cares, oh, my neck tag is made out of 58% bamboo. No, they're gonna use your apparel to shape their identity. It's just, it is what it is. You gotta let that sink in, because if your apparel does not achieve just that one thing alone, you're not gonna make it, my man. And I'm sorry, I've seen some amazing artists out there who just put like so much blood, sweat, and tears into their designs, but the community doesn't look at it like something they can identify with. So that's number one. Apparel, your apparel, they will use it to shape their identity. Number two, the thing I always tell them, your apparel has to be the uniform of the tribe, right? So if you cannot see your community putting on your apparel and saying, I'm now a part of the Soccer League of Los Angeles Club, Photographers of SoCal, whatever, it's not going to have longevity. You have to be so intertwined with the community that you're going after that your apparel becomes synonymous with the uniform. Oh, that guy's wearing the next hundreds t-shirt. He's one of those cool kids from LA. He's part of that community. That's how recognizable your apparel has to ultimately become, to where it's easily identified as the uniform of that community. So those two things, if you can understand them, I think it'll alleviate a lot of people from going to the mall. Like, this is what I always see, right? Somebody always goes to the mall. Hey, Adidas just came out with this new shirt. It's super fly. If I replicate the style, the colors, the production method, I'll sell out 10,000 units. And it's like, no, because the reason that they're selling 10,000 units has nothing to do with what the apparel is, has everything to do that some guy's going in there to grab that shirt because he's trying to identify with their vibe. He's putting on that shirt because that's the uniform everybody in that community is wearing that month. He's just trying to stay relevant. That's why he's selling 10,000 units. So people sometimes get that confused. They think it has everything to do with appearance, and they forget that it actually has everything to do with how it makes you feel.
Awesome advice. Do you read any books, or what do you do like to like help you personally like grow your business, grow your personal like how you develop yourself personally?
Yeah. So for me to become a better business owner, or for me to
Yeah,
invent
yeah.
better stuff?
Well, yeah, if you are an inventor, then you are an inventor with Key Prep
Yeah.
Co. Yeah, well, like even if it's not book, how do you like continue educating yourself? Like what do you do? Just like where do you get your inspiration and source? What's your source of information?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So for me, I'm very blessed to say that I went to probably what I always call the Hogwarts of business school, right? I went to a school called Babson. Tiny little unknown school, but it's the best thing on earth, right? I mean, these cats are ridiculous. You literally start a real company your freshman year, and you're graded on how much money you make in real dollars. So they just throw you into the deep end day one kind of thing, right? So a lot of my inspiration comes from just staying in contact with those cats, because you'll be in class with someone and he owns a $2 million company. This guy owns a $3 million company, and you're sitting here in the middle, like, what am I doing with life? So a lot of it comes from just, I stay in contact with them. They
Yeah,
talk to me about stuff that they're doing, feeds me inspiration. Sometimes I have questions for them.
yeah,
So I would say surrounding myself with people that I already know are where I want to be, especially if they're like similar in age to you, right?
yeah.
The other thing, and this is kind of weird, but some people know this about me, I'm really into old vintage cameras. And the reason I'm into that is because I'm not really a good photographer per se, but like what I realized really early on with cameras was there was a guy, Eastman Kodak, and he monetized memories. He literally monetized memories so much to the extent of where you want to go out, you want to have a good day with your family. Do you want to remember it? You got to pay me $5. How crazy is that? That
Gotcha.
an actual man invented well, I shouldn't say invented photography, that was someone else, but he invented a conventional way to monetize people's memories. So
Mm.
I read a lot about how that entire journey went, how people were basically like, yeah, take my money. You're providing such a good service to me that I want to give you my money.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, Kodak had like 90% of the market. So it's basically, how can I make products so good that people welcome them into their lives happily and just keep coming back, because it was such a good relationship that he had with Kodak to people that I just started collecting cameras. And I'll literally like break
Oh,
down
wow.
cameras and be like, dang, this is some good craftsmanship right here. You just get really into it. But I
Yeah.
can definitely say cameras motivate me to make my products one day, hopefully that accessible.
That's great. That's awesome. That's crazy where we find the inspiration in life and in business.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hey, Leo, so if somebody want to do business with you, somebody want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that? What's the best way to reach you? The different companies that you have, just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So right now we are unfortunately not taking too many orders for apparel unless we've already printed for you, or like it's kind of an ongoing client thing. And I'll
Yeah,
be super straight with you. Inventory levels right now
yeah,
are not great.
yeah.
We're super lucky because we're an official printer for like Bella Canvas and a few other people. So like we have access to some stuff and it's great, but there's just those moments where it's like, I need 2,000 black hoodies and all of these sizes. And I'm like, I would love to help you, my guy, but inventory levels are just so fluctuating.
Yeah.
So Common Thread is commonthread.com. Fan Official is fan-official.com. You can reach us on Instagram on both of those accounts, Common Thread and Fan Official Merch. For Keyprint Co., I would say the best way, first off, if you're at any of the shows that are going to be happening this upcoming year,
Yeah.
absolutely message me if you want to meet up. I would love to talk to as many people as I can. Go to the booths. If you see me, come say hi. Even if you don't want to buy anything, just come say hi, chop it up with me for a second. It's going to be great. I love talking to new print shops. But for Keyprint Co., it's keyprintco.com. Keyprint Co. on YouTube. We post there every week. We have some new video about some new thing you can print. Keyprint Co. on Instagram. That's where you're going to see me like live printing or just being goofy or doing my thing. We also have a TikTok. But I would definitely say Keyprint Co., search us up, ask your distributors about us. They'll definitely tell you what's up. But otherwise, yeah, reach out. And then I'll
That's,
make sure I give you some more information to include.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Leo, thank you so much for coming to the podcast,
Yeah, for
giving
sure,
us
man.
your insight, giving us the knowledge that you have. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.